regular SAM board meeting. It is November 13th. It is 7 p.m. and it is the year 2023. So roll call, please.
Director Clark. Present. Director Penrose.
Here.
Director Knight.
Here.
Director Roddick.
Here.
Director Decker.
Here.
Chair Slater Garden.
Present. Good. Moving on to the public comment or communication items not on the agenda. Members of the public, I see one hand up. Two. I see, Greg and then Kelly.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Greg.
Thank you. You're breaking up, so I'm sorry I'm having a little trouble following, but you know, we had a big stormwater problem on December 31st, and we also had one the prior December on the 22nd of 2021. And the MCC is preparing a stormwater report to send to the county. But I don't recall that we have an explanation for the excess flows at SAM for those 2 Decembers. Obviously, we know the creek overflowed, and you have a pending report from Integral Consulting, and we know the pipe burst, you know, when the water was held back. But the flows at SAM, as I recall, were excessive beyond the design capacity of the plant in both those Decembers, even after the creek had subsided. So am I missing, did we ever get a report of the overflows from those 2 Decembers?
Are you looking for a report on the plant capacity overflows or the creek?
Yeah. Not the creek, because we know the creek is being analyzed, but the fact that the plant was above its processing capacity both those Decembers. I don't remember getting an answer for why that happened. Remember, the IPS was sending about 3 million gallons a day, and we reached over 12, 15, something like that.
And it was over the wet weather flow capacity, not the normal regular dry weather flow.
Right.
So we have to keep those two flow numbers separate. Keisha, or Tim, do we have any analysis on where that water was coming from?
No, I have no one working on it right now. The earlier decision about it was to carry out analysis from a third party to find out the Valimar force main break, and that report is completed. It's submitted. We have no one working on why we had large flows coming in from the member agencies.
Would we like to have that as a future agenda item? I would. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's make that a future agenda item.
We've been raising this point for a long time. It is something that should find out exactly what happened.
Thank you.
Hey, directors, I don't know if we're having a really hard time hearing what people are saying. It's just very distorted. I'm not sure anything can be done, but you know, I can't hear you, so I suspect other members of the public probably can't hear either.
I agree.
And yet you sound really loud, louder than usual.
They're screaming to make up for it. That's what you do when you talk to a deaf person, you scream to them.
We can whisper if you want, but it doesn't make you guys sound any better.
So one thing that's worked at the MCC when we had limited bandwidth is to have the council members in the room turn off the video on their laptops. I don't know if that's an option here.
I don't think anyone here has video on their laptop.
No, only 2 people are using laptops.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 3 people.
No video here.
All right. So, Kelly.
Just a friendly reminder, this Saturday from 10 to 2, we have our SAM open house. We have tours, we have little activities, we're gonna have present staff if you have any questions or concerns, and just gonna be an all-around fun afternoon.
Yes, it will. And children and dogs are invited.
Yes.
Is that
Something that board members can do while they're there to help out? I mean, rather than just kind of wander around. I'm happy to, volunteer.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few fun kid stations where prepping our, while we wash our hands and stuff like that, or even some games. Yeah, sure. I'll take the help. Heck yeah, thank you. Peter?
I wanted to add something here to what Greg just said.
Okay.
I think Kishan has told us that we were building a wall along the keyhole side. I think that Greg may not know about our effort to also stem the flows coming from the keyhole side. Greg, were you aware of us building another wall on the keyhole side?
A berm.
I am aware that Integral has published an interim study. I don't believe they've completed it, and I don't recall the wall on Kehoe, but that would be for creek overflow, right? That wouldn't explain the what came through the pipes.
Just so you know, what we did on the Kehoe side is we stacked 2 pallets concrete bags because we don't have the space or the room between the fence and the trees there, so all we could do is stack concrete bags to kind of like sandbags, but they'll harden up and super heavy. So we stacked those in the lower areas. If there's anywhere else that comes over, we're
Ready to go.
ready to go over.
Stem the flow.
Okay.
Like the Dutch, put the finger in the
That's about all we got at this point.
Lots of fingers.
We have
You
both.
should know that.
Carlisle?
No.
Yes.
I was just going to say that it's the people that sound the most muffled are Barbara Dye and Kishan, and it might be the owl position. I don't know if I can't tell by the room who's sitting the closest, but it's very muffly on some people and not so much on others. And maybe it's just the enunciation. I don't know, but I just want to let you guys know. It's my
I would just like to say that I don't like the owl. I don't think it's this deliberative fight very well. It just shows it jumps around from person to person. It doesn't see this group trying to figure things out.
Maybe we should look at a new communication system in budget. Because I think we went with what was the most economical at the time.
We don't usually have this problem though. This is the first time I've heard of it.
That's why I think it's dirty.
We're having, it'll be fixed for next meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, we had an update and it didn't update on that laptop, it updated on everything else. So we're having.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Zoom suddenly asks you to update it before you log in. So we tried that, it worked on all the computers, but the laptop, there was some issue with it. So just before the meeting, we realized it, so we fixed it, but apparently they might.
Okay, but what you were saying, Herbert, you don't like the way it presents
Jumps
the
around. I
board.
mean, you could, it's showing, it doesn't really convey the deliberations of this body.
You would prefer a single camera when if we had Pacific TV.
I think it's better for public understanding of the discussion. If you look there, it just jumps around. from
Yeah,
person to
it's
person.
crazy.
It doesn't really,
I don't like that.
it doesn't focus on the person talking. It doesn't show the reactions of other people to issues.
So the whole board's in one shot.
Let's, why don't we talk to Pacific TV and see what can be arranged?
Definitely, this is the best thing.
I know Montero is happy with Pacific TV. So, and they're not that expensive.
And it's good to support.
Exactly. Okay, so, Sid, you again?
no, that was
That was an accident, okay.
left it up.
Let's move on to, consent agenda. So we need a motion to approve the minutes of October 16th, 2023, approve the disbursements for November 13th, 2023, and accept the quarterly financial report for the first quarter of the fiscal year 23.
There was an addition by Director Clark, which is on the table, and that's fine. We can go ahead and modify the minutes to incorporate that. And other than that, if there are any questions or clarifications, we can take care of it.
Does he have a comment?
please.
which was that I thought that this quarter's financial report did a really good job of explaining the excess and over budgeted spending in the first quarter, and it's very clear that that expenditure is one-time expenditures in a number of different areas. So I'm complimenting that report.
Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
I also agree completely with Matthew, and full disclosure, I met with Benjamin because I was curious to know more about it. He has some pretty, some reports from geologists and so forth that seem to be something that we should take into account. We do need to pay attention. He has a lot of good information for us on these issues.
Yeah, to me, Benjamin is someone that should be listened to. He's like, well, I think people that know doing this years back. But he's like the guru of the Kehoe ditch.
Yes.
And because
That's
he
for
lives
sure.
right there, that's for sure. And I think I could summarize his main point as that ditch has caused problems for years, not just at this end where it empties out, but along much of its length in floods because the surprisingly large watershed that it serves is all funneled into that one outflow. And at this point, I would say is that there needs to be a group effort with the city and maybe the Corps of Engineers and other environmental regulators to come up with a solution that doesn't cause floods anywhere along.
So we have a motion by Director Tenners and who has a second? Peter.
Isn't the city of Falcon Bay just now making a study?
Well, actually, we came up with a concept plan that we tried to, shop to Senator Becker's and Berman's staff that would make improvements to the Beechwood property and connect improvements there to a rechannelized Kehoe water course that would take it and redirect it over to the Caltrans mitigation site, as well as making improvements to sand. And, we had the legislative staff out here 2 or 3 times taking tours, and they're aware of it, one shoreline's aware of it. And so, we continue to push that. But as was reported about our planning commission meeting a week or so ago, we have problems at Pullman water course and Roosevelt as well, caused by, runoff and,
I think this is not an agenda item. If we'd like to have further discussion.
I just wanted to say that Ken Bay has been working.
So we have a motion and a second. Motion is to approve the minutes
Yes,
and the
as amended.
disbursements as amended. And the disbursements and the financial report.
I would actually like to ask a couple of questions about the disbursements. I could do that now, and then we could do the whole package, or
What's your preference?
Then take your comments offline, maybe.
now.
Well, I think you prefer his comments to be online, so why don't we do it now?
On page 13, there shows a 2 checks the same day for the total of $14,730 for membership in the California Association of Sanitation Agencies for the same membership year, 2024. Is this normal? Why are there 2 checks on the same day? Looks like each covers half of that membership. And I forgot to look up what GC's fee pays for our membership. It seems really
I think it's 2 individuals.
Yes, individuals.
Membership for one individual and a membership for another individual. As I recall, I'm signing the checks.
not for the agency.
For being a member of that
Agency.
agency.
For membership to that agency.
2 individuals?
Yes.
Representing
That's my guess.
Sam.
Wow.
Cheryl, do we want to pull that and see who one starts with a J and the other one starts with a J?
This is the January, June.
Oh, January and July, that,
June and July, January to June. I don't know.
which vendor?
It's CASA,
107,
California Association of Sanitation Agencies.
107, 197.
What's the amount?
You want to go pull out the invoice and come back? Well, we can go to your next question and we can come back with.
Total fee is 14,730.
Okay.
And your
No.
second one?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be for individual membership. It might be a different month or different period. We'll get back to you.
And George.
So it wouldn't be
Oh, one might.
George may have answered.
Okay, Judge.
I can't really hear you too well, but I believe you're talking about a check that has the same amount twice. It's one check, but that's splitting it out for the current fiscal year and the other half that's paid for the next fiscal year, because that membership is by the calendar year.
So it's probably the June 30th of 2023, one check. Another one is July 2023 to the next June. Probably two of them at the same time.
They're both showing as 2024 membership.
It's one check and the totals for is one calendar year, and we split it in the GL. So this particular report shows all the detail of the checks. So that's why you're seeing that.
Okay. So that's 2 years worth for 2 individuals?
No,
No, no,
it's
no, no.
1 year, 1 year for 2 half years.
So
Correct.
it's 20,000 a year.
It's 14,000.
And why did you-
No, there are
$14,000.
two $7,000 checks.
Right.
Let's wait till Callie gets the invoice.
14.
She's getting the invoice.
So it's, what Matthew's saying is there are two $7,365 checks for a total, no, of 14,730.
The check number is on the left, so you can see it's one check. So the vendor sees just the check for the total invoice amount. The invoice is for the calendar year. And in our fiscal year, we have, obviously, because it's July 1st to June 30th, half would be for 2023, half would be 2024, or in this case, it's half for 2024, half for 2023, and then 2024. So the renewal starts January 1st, 2024. So half of it we're expensing during this year, half is being put into prepaids so that we can expense it July 1st.
It makes it easier for us to keep the books straight with the Association of Sanitation Agencies, and we can just do our internal.
Yes, and that's not our fiscal year.
No, that's the whole point. Their fiscal year is different than ours.
Okay,
And what was your second part?
the second part is on page 15 and 16. There are, there's a check for Angela L. Packard attorney client trust account that totals $20,000.
That's your.
And that's what my question is. And then there's another one on page 16 to the Rose Foundation for Communities
That's a year.
in the environment for another 15,000. So that's the 35,000 that we authorized.
Right.
For
ERF amendment.
Yeah, the settlement.
right. Okay. Yeah, I just wondered because they all recite the same case number.
Right.
And, all right, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we need a roll call vote or do we need just all those in favor say
Yeah, you should vote.
aye? Okay, roll call vote.
Director Clark,
Aye.
Director Penrose,
Aye.
Director Dye,
Aye.
Director Radak,
Aye.
Director Deku,
Aye.
Chair Slater Carter.
Yes. Moving on to regular business, first item is to authorize general manager to issue a purchase order to GSC Construction for the installation of digester mixing pumps at the sand plant in the amount of $99,950.
So we have two mixing pumps, as we have two digesters, and the existing mixing pumps, the centrifugal pumps, being replaced by chopper type pumps supplied by one, and these were supplied in April 2022. And we are now planning on installing it. We sent out inquiries to all potential various contractors who could possibly take up this job. This is not just removing the existing pump and putting the new pump. It required a little bit of customizing because this is a new manufacturer and a new pump, so piping changes and a little bit of mounting changes are required. So we had to go through that process, and we found out that only two contractors were willing to participate in this. We had GSC and RF McDonald, and apparently GSC Construction is the apparent lowest proposal, and they've done several projects in the treatment plant, and that's why staff recommends that they award the job to GSC Construction. So, if you answer any questions? Yes.
I looked at the amount that we approved as a budget for these mixing pumps.
Yes.
And I found that we have already spent 21, 22, I believe, something like $80,000 or $70,000 on these pumps. And now we are adding another $100,000. That means the budget that we originally set is more than double the original. Is that the correct understanding?
Yeah, that is the correct understanding. We have about 35,000, close to about 35,000 remaining from the previous year's budget for this particular item.
Yeah.
And there has been an overrun for this particular item, not for the complete CIP. You know, in the CIP, in certain cases, we have not been able to cancel some of the projects. In some cases, it's gone over and above the estimated price. But yes, it is more than the budget.
Almost double. Then the other question is, in the quote from GSE, is the $99,950 including the tax? And I noticed that the freight is not included.
Yeah, there's no freight because the pumps are already here. This is just labor and materials, just labor and whatever materials they use. So no freight is included.
So the $99,950 includes tax?
It's labor, so
Labor.
it's
It's just labor.
There is no tax. Those are the two questions.
Any other questions? Someone?
Maybe I should clarify. I'm concerned about that tax and freight because McDonald's specifically says tax and freight included. That's why I thought there was tax involved.
I move approval of the contract.
Second.
Right, we have a motion by, thank you. To the roll call vote to approve this purchase order for $99,950.
Director Clark?
Aye.
Director Penrose?
Aye.
Director Dye?
Aye.
Director Rada?
Aye.
Director Decker?
Aye.
Chair Slater Carter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to item B, approved employee educational reimbursement policy. Is attached.
You have the information in the packet, and our special counsel, Chris Boucher, and myself have had discussions with Local 39. Prior to that, we've had discussions with the Board Operations Committee, and we'd like to bring this to the board for implementation. As you're all aware, SAM has, there's a lot of emphasis on education. We believe that we encourage people to take a lot of certificate courses, degrees, diplomas, wherever possible, because we believe that education is the only passport to the future. Well, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. So we try and encourage each and every staff to educate themselves and grow more and more in getting more credits. Now, we have Chris Boucher who would like to make a PowerPoint presentation. Chris, am I right?
Yes, good evening, directors, and thank you, Mr. General Manager. The presentation really is for the benefit of the public, as the board had previously been briefed on the terms of the educational reimbursement program. But in a nutshell, really, when you think about kind of a modern employer, helping employee grow and helping them stay within the organization and obtaining skill sets that are beneficial to the organization, it's really something job seekers are looking for. It's something employees are looking for, and especially in today's market, when we're thinking about ways to retain employees, especially within the public sector, there's not bonuses or things that we can provide. And so educational reimbursement is one of the vehicles that is a win-win for both the organization as well as the employees. One of the key components of an educational reimbursement policy, as we've structured it for SAM, is also that the classes that they take have to have a direct, right, beneficial, a direct benefit to the organization, in the sense that either it's something that can help them within their current job, but it's not a mandated, mandatory job training requirement, or it's something that can prepare them for opportunities within SAM in the future. And so in looking at things like succession planning, that's also a great tool for employees who are motivated, who are eager to take that next step, that the organization is providing support to them and allowing them, giving them some help in pursuing the requisite education going forward. Under the Internal Revenue Code, there is a section that also allows the organization to structure it in a way that reimbursements for any educational reimbursement policies will be tax exempt. So that is also another benefit to the employee, because they're not being taxed on it as taxable income. We did do a survey with 13 nearby comparison agencies that we typically would compare SAM to, and at least 11 of them have some form of an educational reimbursement program. So this is also something that other organizations, quote unquote, our competitors, are also offering within the special districts arena. I think we've talked about some of the key benefits of the educational reimbursement program. But again, I think for SAM, it really is looking at it as an investment for employees who wish to invest in themselves, right, and their future with the organization. The organization in turn is supporting them and reimbursing a fraction of it. Given the reimbursement amounts, we're not, in most cases, not likely enough to reimburse the entire freight, but it does show the organization support, and hopefully that when openings come up, they'll be better prepared, and we will be able to take advantage of those knowledge that employees gained on their own time. The key components of the policy includes up to $3,000 annually for reimbursement assistance that employees can seek reimbursement for. The key term is reimbursement. So it does require the employee to pay for the entire cost of the tuition, books, and so forth. And then upon showing that they've successfully completed the program with either a passing grade of C or better, or just a pass if the class is pass, not pass, then we will reimburse them. They also have to seek approval from their supervisor and the general manager to confirm that there is a benefit to SAM before they take the class. So it does allow for some control in terms of the overall process. There is a lifetime maximum of $10,000 while employed by the authority as well. Coursework, we are taking into consideration any technical school adult education program, recognizing that in maintenance, operations, and collections, those jobs are much more trade specific versus college tuition specific. But any college, university classes, extension program, or degree programs are also eligible for consideration for reimbursement. Because the authority is represented by Local 39. Local 39 historically and over the years have had one of the best technical and trades training program offered really in the nation, a very robust program. And so again, considering the nature of some of our job classifications and moving up in the technical skills that are required for those jobs, we have talked to Local 39 in terms of supporting any programs offered by Local 39 as well. Again, these will be classes that employees will have to take on their own time. And so if it's a daytime program and it conflicts with their job, they can ask for time off from work, but it will be utilizing any paid accruals that they may have, and it will not be done on work time. Of course, after COVID, online, virtual, in-person, and hybrid programs have all really worked out a lot of the kinks as compared to before, and also recognizing that employees do work full-time. This is things that they would do on their own time. I think the more expansive we can be in terms of educational methods, that's why we're suggesting online, in-person, as well as hybrid programs that employees can take, and those would also be eligible for consideration for reimbursement. Other than kind of what I've already talked about, for the initial year, since this is the first year that we are implementing this program, board authorization is also requested to consider any past expenses which meet the eligibility criteria that are set forth in the policy, and a copy of the policy is included in the board's packet for both the board and members of the public. And then this is looking at the range of comparisons against the other water and sanitary districts. The highest being actually 10,000 being a pool, but 5,000 individually by Alameda County Water District. And current law is a little over the 5,000 limit, but our suggestion for SAM is to pack it at the $3,000 limit per year. The fiscal impact will be based on actual utilization. I think once we implement the initial year of the policy, it'll give us better insight. SAM being a smaller employer as well, I think just surveying employees to see what interest there may be will help us determine future interest in future budget years. But for the current budget year, we're not anticipating that there will be any expenses that can be absorbed within the current year budget. So we're not seeking additional budgetary authority for the current fiscal year. And for future years, we will go ahead and budget a line item in, at least based on anticipated usage. Again, in most organizations, not everyone is going to use this. It'll be a fraction of the organization that will take advantage of it, but the payoff will be significant in the long run. So the recommendation is to approve the educational reimbursement policy of note, Local 39. We did come under the Myers-Browne Act. This is a change in working conditions. So we did complete the meet and confer process with Local 39, and Local 39 is in support of the board's approval of this policy, as well as to authorize the general manager to consider and approve any past expenses which meet the eligibility criteria set forth in the policy for the initial year, which is really this calendar year, up to the $3,000 annual maximum for the initial year. And we're happy to answer any questions the board may have. And thank you.
Two questions. First, there's one thing that you talked about, past expenses. Is this anything anyone has done in the past that meets the criteria? With that, so this could be any class they've taken. That's my first question. And my second question is, don't we fund any training for people? Is this something that we haven't been doing it all? Or does some of the things that's directly work related get funded? I'm just astounded that we're not doing this already.
Maybe I'll answer. Oh.
It's good, sorry.
Maybe I'll answer the first question and let the general manager answer the second part of the question, Director Dai. In short, yes, we will consider them, but again, it would have to show a direct benefit to SAM, just because we're implementing it fairly late this year. So if employees have taken classes that are beneficial, if they are currently enrolled in programs that could be beneficial to SAM, the consideration is to make a one-time consideration to allow those past expenses, subject to their supervisor and the general manager approving it in terms of benefit, kind of the direct benefit to SAM and meeting the eligibility criteria. Second, the program is intended to for anything they want to do outside of work. So it's beyond the kind of job required training, if you will, but I can let the general manager elaborate more on the second part.
Is there any cap? How far back can people go and things that they've done 10 years ago and ask for reimbursement?
I'm sorry, it was really hard to hear the question, Director Dai. Do you mind repeating it?
We're not being heard. No, I'm just, this past reimbursement, I'm just trying to get an idea how significant that could potentially be. There's no cap on how far back people can go and so forth. I guess that we'll leave it to the discretion of the people approving it as to whether something that's taken quite some years ago is valuable, but seems like that's kind of a loophole.
The policy is intended for the calendar year 2023.
Right.
So it will be from January 2023 onwards. If somebody has taken any courses, which
Oh, okay.
the general manager is convinced that it is beneficial to SAM, and that will get approved.
It seems to be even limited in the past, but it seemed like a big
No,
blank check to the past.
no, it's not retro.
And then, do we don't fund any training, or some of the training is included?
We do fund
Explain that?
direct related things like CWA certifications.
I see the certificates.
Correct. So we pay for all those things. We pay for the training, for the classes to take place. But this is over and above, beyond that. Above and beyond that, if somebody needs to do, say that somebody wants to do an undergrad degree in environmental engineering or something like that, which is directly related to wastewater, then they want it.
All right, but we are funding
We are funding
a lot of training for people.
certificate courses.
I was shocked to think we are doing this.
It's a
Okay,
part of our MOU, yes.
I'm very supportive of this. I think it's a really important thing to do.
Any more questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
I think we need a motion.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
After all
I
my
heard
talking.
that.
I move
And a
approval of
second.
this program.
Director Ruddick? I know you just automatically said, oh, we're all in agreement. Roll call vote.
Director Clark?
Aye.
Director Penrose?
Aye.
Director Dye?
Aye.
Director Rana?
Aye.
Director Decker?
Aye.
Chair Slater Gowda?
Yes, and enthusiastic.
Thank you.
I think that our workforce, their crew here is fascinating because they do have so many different interests and it really does lead to a much stronger, better functioning environment. Item C, approved side letter agreement with IOE Stationary Engineers Local 39 concerning emergency incentive pay. And I noted it includes volcanoes. Just in case, you never know. Western Edge.
So SAM has been experiencing a lot of emergency related items, be it winter storm, whether it's fire due to the bus truck damage or anything else. So therefore, we discussed it with Local 39 and we thought that we should give as an incentive to staff an emergency incentive pay to support the critical operations of SAM during such emergencies. So the way it would work would be that if there's an emergency and the general manager is convinced that it was an emergency, then the staff who have worked during that emergency period will be allowed $3.50 per hour for each hour of work performed during the emergency time. So, Chris, would you like to elaborate a little further on that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Really, the kind of concepts behind this, of course, Sam has faced some pretty bad winter storms the last couple of years. Given again the size of the workforce that we have, one of the things we wanted to be proactive about this year is to work with Local 39, and this really is to look at it as a cooperation side letter agreement that the union is also agreeing in terms of the authorities need to operate under emergency situations, recognizing that on-call staff, right? There's only a few people are on call, but when it's truly a all hands on deck situation, recognizing the general managers and also agreeing that the general manager does have the exclusive authority to control the organization and to call the workforce back as needed. This really is a way to maybe to look at it more as a way to recognize staff that in those true critical emergency situations, those that are coming in to help, both because they're directed to come, but also those that are coming in, even though it's not their on-call week, a very nominal hourly stipend, if you will, to compensate staff and again, to recognize them for those contributions during those critical times. I've heard some pretty heroic stories of things that STEM staff have faced, and certainly I personally would say I cannot do any of that on behalf of the authority. So in those situations, just a nominal appreciation to staff, but also recognition from Local 39 to support the authority's operation. And thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Motion?
Where goes Barbara? I always have a question. I support this, of course. When they're doing this, they already get like time and a half and so forth. So this isn't as if there's no recognition at this time for the hard work and the emergency work that people do. I'm supporting this, but I just want to make it clear. This is not all we offer to people who put in those extra hours to keep things running.
Yes,
Putting a little more sugar in their bowl.
they are being paid standby pay or overtime and or overtime pay. So this is about.
And it would be in the discretion of the general manager when this gets paid.
Correct.
Are there any criteria for it or just?
If it's an emergency, if it's just a call out for maybe a pump not working somewhere or something, if it's just a normal call out where people do, it may not be treated as an emergency. But if it's being done during, say, the storm situation or something emergency.
And we do have to declare an emergency.
Yeah, that would also be included. If the board declares it as an emergency, then of course it will. But if the board does not declare an emergency, still the general manager
Make
can.
that decision, yeah.
For instance, when the water started flooding over the bridge, there was no time for board meeting.
Or the bus stop. Right, that in the middle of the night.
And usually you come back to us anyway to retroactively declare an emergency.
If the period is going to be declared as an emergency, if the event is an emergency, I don't have to come back saying that, okay, for 2 hours it was an emergency situation, so Mr. X was paid so and so. I don't have to come back.
Makes sense.
And for 2 hours, it gets $7. It's not going to break me, you know. Yes, well, honestly, I certainly appreciate the way stuff here. Would you like to make the motion? I'll make the motion.
And would you like to second it? Boy, we've got a running team here. Okay, all those in favor, it's a roll call vote, please.
Director Clark,
Aye.
Director Penrose,
Aye.
Director Nye,
Yes.
Director Rada,
Yes.
Director Decker,
Aye.
Chair Slater.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving right along to the general manager's report.
Any questions? Will the packet, the details in the packet. If there are any questions, staff is here to answer.
See no hands. Attorney's report.
Yes, just very briefly, at the last meeting, I was asked to prepare a policy regarding, or I should say, regarding the potential for interruptions of meetings, Zoom bombing, things like that. So we did that. It'll be going, but General Manager wanted to send it to the Operations Committee first. So you'll see that in Ops Committee later this month, and then hopefully come back to the board for approval at the next board meeting. That's it.
Thank you. Director's reports. Seeing none, I will point out that the general manager sent us a invitation or a notice of the California State Finance Officers Conference in CFMO in January. And it's for people involved in government finances from everywhere from accountants and auditors down to board members and treasurers. And I appreciate the fact that you did that. I'm strongly considering it. And I would recommend that any of us who are interested in that maybe attend and find out more of what's going on in the field. So that's an option. Please get back to Keisha about that. Next is topics for future board consideration.
Well, yeah, one thing I never heard back from is status report on our emergency preparation. Said we'd like to come back.
I thought we did. I remember.
We did it in the board ops and then we did it.
We did it in the board ops maybe, but I don't remember it here.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to do a quick update on the update because I know people are concerned about.
We can bring it up We get the board of managers report in the next meeting. It has points like
That would be great. And when will Integral be coming back?
next month. We're trying to have a meeting with Mars and Integral. So they were scheduled last week for some reason. It will take place sometime very soon. And then we will get this.
And I'd like a report on the status of the insurance reimbursement and the FEMA reimbursement. I was surprised, I guess, to realize that we had been fully denied by the insurance company, though I know they're working hard to get that considered.
We can bring a report to the next meeting as an agenda.
Because I think that is critically important for us to understand and figure out how that's going to impact the finances. I know you've been working hard on that.
And I'd like to kind of start out with the ops committee and then bring it to the board as to what kind of minutes we are going to be keeping. According to the policies for SIM, we're supposed to be following Robert's rules of order, which are pretty much action minutes. And we keep getting requests, and don't give it to we all for more narrative type minutes. And so I'd like for the ops committee and then the board to make a decision on again defining this for future years, because I have looked at the CSDA and so on, and I wish there was something that had, with the action minutes and then narratives afterwards that you follow, because there are so many important points that are made, but what we do under Roberts is, and we are under Roberts, Rosenberg is to do action.
We don't have a policy which is adopted by the board for minutes.
It was just 2 years ago.
Yeah, just 2 years ago, but I can bring it back to the board ops committee and
I
see
would
whether
like
we need to
that.
make any amendments to it.
Yes,
And then we can go from there.
yes, exactly. Thank you. So we're done with the regular agenda. Do we have anything in closed session, Jeremy?
Yes, we have we do have one brief closed session. So if we could, we'll just have a quick closed session. It's going to be 9A that we need to talk about. So if we could convene to closed session to discuss anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, that'd be appropriate at this time.
Okay, let's take a break then, and it is, wow. I must be looking at this wrong. Well, let's take a break. We're gonna turn off the stuff. Let's take a 5-minute break and come back at 7.